Morning, Dan and Amy. Programming note at 6:45.
Yes.
We've got Gene Crum, who's the president of Judson University out there in Elgin, right? And they do this World Leaders Forum. I've moderated it for a few years.
They're going to be announcing the starting lineup, right?
Exclusively on this show, their speaker for this year, and this is a big deal because their past speakers have included President George W. Bush, Condi Rice, Tony Blair, Queen Noor of Jordan, Felipe Calderon, former Mexican president. So, I mean, they get headliners. So, 6:45, you want to stay tuned, find out who Judson University is bringing to town as part of their World Leaders Forum this year. Also, one other note, thank the Amish texter for the compliment. I haven't gotten a lot about our appearance on the Anderson Cooper show last night. The Amish texter saying, Dan, I think you were great on Anderson Cooper, especially in your tight Gloria Vanderbilt jeans. And I work hard to get into those jeans, and I appreciate that somebody recognizes that. Thank you, Amish texter.
I have a little surprise for you, too.
Oh, you do?
You have a 8x10 signed autographed picture of Anderson Cooper.
I do?
Coming your way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That is going in my
yeah.
well-appointed condo above my mantle right next to dogs playing poker.
Okay.
I think that's nice. Well, add to the decor.
Big show today.
So yesterday, some interesting elections in Arizona and Florida. Marco Rubio easily fends off a challenge, but he's got he's in the lead, but he's got a serious race for re-election in the general election against the Democrat congressman in Florida. John McCain easily fends off a challenge in Arizona.
Yeah, but he's going to have a tight race in the general election against his Democratic challenger. I think.
Yeah, but he's up a few points, too. So I wonder
and Debbie Wasserman Schultz won.
Yeah, I know.
Todd Christensen's not going away anytime soon, Dan.
Boy, I tell you, at least she provides a tribute to that anachronistic hairstyle. So, I mean, there's that. But the interesting thing now, and also this story from The Hill yesterday, the Koch brothers that were spending money in support of Rob Portman in Ohio, another target Senate race. Rob Portman running against former Democrat governor of Ohio, Ted Strickland. They pulled $2.1 million of ads that they were going to purchase and air on behalf of Portman. Why? Because obviously they think Portman is in a strong position and he doesn't need the additional support. So I wonder if this speaks to some of the hysteria, frankly, of the never-Trumpers and some of the kind of boundless optimism of the left that somehow Trump was going to be an albatross around the entire Republican brand's neck and take down the majorities in both the Senate and the House, take those away from Republicans. It doesn't seem to be playing out that way. Now we still have 65 days to go coming out of Labor Day, and that's an eternity in an election. But it just doesn't seem to be playing out that way, and Hillary's problems certainly are doing nothing but helping Republicans. For more on this, we're happy to be joined again by our friend Sean Trendy. He's the senior elections analyst for Real Clear Politics, realclearpolitics.com. Sean, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So yesterday's elections, it seems to me the only major takeaway with Democrat incumbent Corrine Brown, a congressman from Florida, losing, is that if you are under indictment, then that can hurt your reelection chances. So Shaka Fata goes down in Pennsylvania and now Corrine Brown. But short of being under indictment, you've got a pretty good chance.
Yeah. Being under indictment is a bad fact, as is having your district completely redrawn and having a good chunk of your base of support taken out from under you. Those two things are hard to overcome.
There you go. But what about on the marquee races, the two Senate races, what I made mention of the Koch brothers pulling out of Portman's race, at least for the time being, it seems. What does that say about the balance of power in the House and the Senate as we're upon Labor Day here?
Well, I think the Ohio Senate race is looking pretty good for Portman. I live in Ohio, and he's been running just a brutal ad campaign against Strickland for 3 or 4 months now, and I think it's really taking a toll on Strickland. Right now, looking at our averages, the Senate is really kind of, it's really close. Right now, Democrats lead in enough races to pick up 4 Senate seats, which is exactly what they need. But some of these races like Pennsylvania and Indiana are close, and some are close the other way. Marco Rubio, is in a tight race, and John McCain, as you noted, is catching some heat. So we'll see how this plays out.
Well, do you think Senator McCain had heard him that he said that he might not last this next entire term? Because I don't think that helps with the age issue.
He's old. This just in, John McCain is old.
He is old. I believe he's 80. You don't want to bring that up yourself because even if your opponent doesn't bring it up, it's in the back of everyone's mind. But at the same time, he's he's an Arizona institution. He's been a senator since 1986. And those types of senators are difficult to dislodge.
Name recognition there.
Sticking with the Real Clear Politics and the polling averages for a minute, it seems like Trump is poised to live up to Reince Priebus' prediction that the race will be a dead heat by Labor Day, at least nationally. Where does he stack up in terms of the battleground states, the all-important battleground states? Is there a winnowing of the margins in those states as well?
Yeah, we've definitely seen a tightening of the race. I don't know that I would call it a dead heat just yet. Clinton's up about 5 points in the polls, which is real. I mean, that's a larger margin than Barack Obama won by, but it's down from the 7 or 8 points we were seeing in the immediate aftermath of the Democratic Convention. Now, obviously, when a candidate is up 5 points, they're going to be leading in most of the battleground states, and that's what we see as well. But the one exception, the kind of odd exception, is Iowa, where Clinton is actually, or where Trump is actually running surprisingly well.
All right, so today Donald Trump, before he delivers his big immigration speech tonight, is heading south, meeting with the president of Mexico. Do you think that this could backfire on him if the Mexican president scolds him and tells him face-to-face, we are not paying for a wall?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of at a certain point, you kind of have to dance with what brung you, right? I mean, he's done enough damage to his relationship with the Hispanic community that I'm not sure it's reversible in 65 days or whatever. I mean, on the other hand, maybe he feels like he has to try. But, this could blow up in his face.
But who's his real audience for the speech today? It's really not Latino voters, is it? I mean, just looking at it from a realpolitik perspective, it's some Republicans who are holdouts and suburbanites who don't want to feel like they're part of anything that has a racial tinge to it. Jason Riley kind of sort of makes this point in his op-ed in the Wall Street Journal today, arguing that Trump's immigration shift is a winner. And he points out that even after the president's unilateral approach with DACA and immigration, childhood arrivals, and so forth, that has now being litigated, even after that, 70% of respondents in a Pew survey and 53% of Republicans said illegal immigrants who meet certain requirements should have a way to stay in this country legally. That doesn't need to be central to Trump's speech, but it speaks to where he needs to kind of dull the edges on some of his rhetoric so that he doesn't lose people that might otherwise be in his camp, doesn't it?
Well, that's definitely part of the target audience, as you said, is suburbanites, moderates, who don't necessarily sign up for some of the more extreme rhetoric of Trump. The non-white vote is large enough that he cannot win with 0% of the African-American vote, which is what he's getting in some polls, and 15 to 20% of the Hispanic vote. So he does have to try to make some amends there. I just don't know if it's too little too late.
Now, what do you hope that he will talk about during his immigration speech tonight? Do you think he should talk about mass deportation? I mean, remember, he did promise to deport 11 million people within 2 years after becoming president, which I did the math for you, Sean, is 15,000 people a day.
Yeah,
and we all know that that's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. It was never going to happen. Kind of like Mexico paying for the wall. But I mean, the problem is that his base of support is among people who love this, and they love that he's a straight talker and that he doesn't back down. When Vicente Fox, made his comments before, Trump said the wall just got 10 feet higher. Like they love that stuff. And so if I were somehow advising the Trump campaign, I would have gotten on board a long time ago and said, you can't do this stuff. At this point, he's just kind of in a bind because his hardest course, the core of his brand, is saying these, what I think are outrageous things on immigration.
Yeah, but it's interesting because it seems like they're looking past any modulation, any addition of texture to his position. And, we forget the primary because it seems like it was an eternity ago, but there was the whole flap about his meeting with the New York Times editorial board and what did he really say there? And Ted Cruz pressed him on, tell us what you said, provide a transcript, because it was reported that he basically said that, everything's negotiable as it pertains to immigration and some of the harder line stances rhetorically he was taking in the primary, and people look past that. Trump supporters certainly look past that in the primary. In a matchup against Hillary Clinton, that's a lot less attractive than other Republican options. It seems to me they're poised to look past anything he does on this issue in the general election.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what exactly is in the mind of the hardcore, the Trump supporter that's been with him since he, went down the escalator 14 months ago. But it just strikes. I agree that everything's been up for negotiation since this whole thing started, and that he really doesn't care all that much about policy. He wants to be president, which isn't that dissimilar from plenty of actual presidents we've had. The problem, though, is that a lot of his supporters really do care about this policy and have glommed onto him for that. So it's just he is in a little bit of a bind here. I don't know that it's insurmountable. Like I said, it's a 5-point lead that Clinton has, which is real, but not something that's going to kill him. And if you're looking for a bigger thing, it's not that a bigger picture thing. It's not the specifics of this immigration speech. It's that he seems to recognize that he has a problem that needs to be addressed, that he can't go off making some of these comments that he's been making along the way, and that something needs to change if he's going to win this race.
Yeah.
That's probably the big story here.
Yeah, I think that's right. He is Sean Trende, Senior Elections Analyst for RealClearPolitics.com. Sean, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.